Here you are watching this video called Communication Basics Plus, How to Get Over the Fear of Public Speaking. And I have a question for you. What is communication? How would you describe it? I've heard people say that someone has great communication skills. I've heard others say, I communicate with that idea. But what exactly is communication? The experts say it's when a sender sends a message to the receiver, and the receiver sends a response called feedback back to the sender. Now, this could be two people talking to each other, or perhaps a speaker in front of a group. Communication is a circular process. Even when the receiver says nothing, he's sending a message back. Can you ever not communicate? I don't think so. What makes each communication situation unique is that each person brings to the situation their own background or field of experience, their own attitudes, feelings, ideas, and personality. Even identical twins have their own unique backgrounds. The whole idea in communication is for the speaker to clearly get the message across to the receiver. And with 65 to 93% of all communication being nonverbal, that means that what you say is often not as important as how you say it. So if the sender of the message is a public speaker, how can he or she get the message across clearly and easily? Or let's ask this question another way. What makes a good speaker, the kind of speaker that we really want to listen to? Well, first of all, posture. You want to stand up straight, shoulders back, feet shoulder width apart. You want to be planted firmly on the floor. If you're leaning on one leg or you're kind of slumped over, it will be noticeable. You'll look off balance, and you don't want people noticing there's something off with your posture. And then they're going to be not listening to your message. You want to make sure that you don't hide behind a lectern. Another thing that's very good is clothes and jewelry. When the audience is dressed in suits, you don't want to show up in shorts. You want to wear appropriate clothes, clean, neat, pressed, clothes that don't distract from your message. Well, it's the same with jewelry. You don't want to wear a lot of bangle bracelets that jingle or wear big earrings that, again, take away from your message. And eye contact. Look at people when they speak. We love, an audience loves eye contact. I was told to look at the top of their heads. But you know, if I'm sitting in an audience, I can tell that when somebody's looking at the top of my head. Look them right in the eye. And remember, if you're looking to the right side of the audience, make sure you look to the left side. You want to make sure that your eye contact is not too quick. You don't want to have any shifty eyes. You don't want to be going like this. And not too slow. You don't want to stare them down. I have a class exercise that I like to do where it's a silent exercise, and I have each student get up in front of the class, and rather than speak, what they do is they look each person in the eye, really get used to giving eye contact to an audience. Another thing that makes a good speaker is pleasant vocal tone. If your voice sounds pleasing, and in avoiding certain crutch phrases like you know. Another thing that's good is to speak not too fast, but not too slow. You want to go just at the appropriate speed. And of course, too much movement is very distracting. Appropriate hand gestures. Let your hands speak too. They have something to say. And if you're just standing there like that, see if you can let your hands say something. Sincerity, that's very difficult to fake. What makes a good speaker is someone who is sincere. You want to have some enthusiasm and energy for your topic, and you want to be believable. Also, you want to make sure that your message is interesting, not boring. Find something that will grab the audience's attention, help them to feel or think. And remember, your timing is important too. If you're supposed to give a half-hour speech, don't give a 2-hour speech. If you're supposed to give a 2-hour speech, don't give a half-hour speech. And make sure that your speaking has good organization. You want to make sure that your speech has a beginning, a middle, and an end. And of course, make your message appropriate to your audience. Some people believe that what makes a good speaker is a good audience. And what makes a good audience? Well, someone sitting in the audience kind of reading the paper, chewing gum, looking up to the ceiling, that isn't my best audience member. Let me ask you a few more questions about audience members. An audience member is a good listener. What makes a good listener? Someone who really pays attention, who focuses on what you're saying, someone who doesn't interrupt and doesn't change the subject, someone who gives feedback, asks questions, and looks at you. Is there ever a time when listening can be a matter of life and death? I know in some occupations it is. For a mother, a doctor, a fireman, a psychologist, a pilot, a construction worker, or a driver. Have you ever been in a situation where listening is that important? Do you think that there is a difference between hearing and listening? Well, yes, there is. Hearing, the words just go in, but listening involves all the senses. How can you become a better listener? You know, the more you practice, the better you become. Practice listening to things that you don't enjoy. I tell you, when I was in college, there was a professor that I had, and he was teaching a class that was very, very interesting to me, except there was one problem. The professor spoke in a monotone. And this was after lunch, too. And while everyone else was falling asleep, I decided to use my public speaking skills. I sat in the front row, and I really concentrated. I learned in public speaking what it's like to be a good audience member. And so I concentrated, and I asked questions. I wanted to learn, and he knew it. And what happened is that towards the end of the semester, his lectures became better and better and more interesting and more interesting. And sometimes I think that he was giving those lectures just for me because I was the most important listener in the room. Whose voice do you like to listen to? Why? What is it about that voice that makes you want to listen? How would you rate yourself as a listener? How would others rate you? Do you like to listen to a good story? Well, this is a great way to begin a speech and a great way to start practicing these skills. The better the listener you become, the better the audience member you will be. It also makes you a more sensitive and aware public speaker. So, who gets nervous when it comes to speaking? Take a big guess at what the second biggest fear for people is, according to the Book of Lists. It's the fear of death. And what do you think is the first biggest fear? It's the fear of public speaking. People are more afraid of speaking in public than they are of dying. So if you are nervous, you're normal. How to get over it? Change the fear into excitement. When you're excited, what happens is the adrenal glands start pumping adrenaline, which gives you energy. You know, think about the difference between the excitement you feel for going on a very hot date and the nervousness you feel for taking a big test. If you could change that kind of nervousness into excitement, oh boy, you would have a great time. Especially when you're public speaking, if not while taking a test. Remember, fear is two-faced. It's a bully. It'll beat you up. But if you look it in the eye, it's a coward and it runs away. Practice a lot. Prepare. The more you know what you're speaking about, the easier it is, the more comfortable you feel. Positively talk to yourself. It's called positive self-talk. I can do it. You know, I think inside of us we all have that little angel and the little devil, and the angel saying, you can do it, you can do it, you can do it, and the devil saying, no, you can't, no, you can't. Listen to the angel. Don't listen to the devil. Listen to the voice inside that says, you can do it. Believe in yourself. Know that you have a message to tell others and that they need to hear it. Make it a game. Enjoy the process. I had a friend in high school, and before a math test, we'd always say, hey, are you nervous about this math test? And she would always say to us, no way. I can't wait to take this math test. It's like a puzzle, a game. Now, if you could feel that way, if I could feel that way about a math test would be great. If you could feel that way about public speaking, oh boy, you would enjoy the process. So I think that changing your attitude is a good way also to get over the fear of public speaking. See yourself succeeding. Use your imagination. And remember to breathe deeply. Breathing is a natural tranquilizer for the body. In this video, we'll be learning not just how to breathe deeply, appropriate breathing for speech, but we will also be learning how to totally relax your body by releasing tension. As I said before, proper breathing for speech will help you get over the fear. But how do we breathe? Does anyone know? Well, let me tell you. There is, underneath, here are my lungs, and underneath the lungs is a dome-shaped muscle, and that muscle is called the diaphragm. And when we breathe, what happens is that the diaphragm goes down and out just a bit. And when it goes down and out, it leaves a space for the lungs to fill with air. It's kind of like a vacuum effect. The lungs go, and when we inhale. To exhale, what happens is that the diaphragm is down, it goes up, and it pushes the air out of the lungs, and we exhale. Now, when I'm in a classroom and I'm demonstrating this, I usually have a student volunteer come and lie on the floor, on his back, and I put a book on that student's belly. And you know what happens? As he inhales, the book goes up, and as he exhales, the book goes down. When we're lying on the floor, we are really straight. Our spine is straight. And when we're straight, what happens is that the lungs will do what they usually do, and that is breathe properly. Unfortunately, we get into bad habits. We don't always sit up straight or stand up straight. Sometimes we have to put our shoulders back. But if you sit up straight or stand up straight right now, put your shoulders back, really stand up straight, or if you want, you can lie on the floor. And what I want you to do is I want you to put a hand on your belly, on your abdomen, and feel yourself inhaling and exhaling. And as you inhale, see what happens. As you exhale, see what happens. When I ask my students to do this in the classroom, what happens is that I will look into the classroom and I will see many people going like this. Is this full, deep breathing? No, it's very shallow breathing. They're using their shoulders. So what I want you to do is keep that hand on your abdomen, and I want you to fully and deeply inhaling. And if you're really doing that, you will find that your abdomen will go out just a little bit. Now, I'm going to do it, and I'm going to exaggerate a little bit. So take a look at what's going to happen. As I inhale, watch my abdomen. As I inhale, you'll see that my abdomen will go out. So taking a full, deep inhalation and exhaling. Let me try it again. Inhaling, I'm going to be pushing my abdomen out. And exhaling. And you can do that too. And if you do that, you will find that you will become calmer and calmer. In fact, it makes your tone of voice sound better too. It really supports the tone of your voice. You see, there are blood and nerve clusters in the front of the body. And when you breathe fully and deeply, letting the diaphragm do its job, they get massaged and relaxed, these nerve clusters and blood, you know, it brings like a blood massage to the front of your body, and it calms you down. Now, if you've ever heard someone who's very, very upset, or somebody who's very, very angry, listen to their breathing. It's very shallow. If you're really angry, or if you're really upset, listen to breathing. You can hear it. If you can get a very upset person to lie down or sit down and breathe fully and deeply and do full deep breathing. Yes, they might still be upset, but they will be less so because breathing really calms down the body. Now, I have a few exercises that you can do to increase your exhalations. We speak on the exhalation, and the more that you do these exercises, the more you will increase your exhalations and also have more proper breathing for speech. On your exhalation, if you say the sound oh, and try to say it as long as you can, take in your inhalation, on the exhalation say oh, and keep saying it, time yourself, and every time you say it, try to go a little bit longer. And you could even on the exhalation say the alphabet, and each time you do it, try to get to a farther letter. Or you could count from 1 on, and each time you do it, try to get to a number, a larger number. Now, if you get to the end of a breath, did you ever you're reading something and you get to the end and you know you have 1 or 2 more words, but you just don't have any more breath to do it? I have a trick for you. You can pull in on your abdomen for extra breath. Just pull in, and what will happen is that you'll have a little bit of extra breath to go those few more words. What are the benefits of proper breathing? Improved circulation. You become more alert. You're more relaxed. You're more in control of your feelings. The lungs are also an eliminative organ, so you get rid of toxins in the lungs, and you become a better speaker. So, practice proper breathing. And as you're practicing that, what I'd like to suggest also is that we practice some relaxation and imagination techniques. So, that's what we're going to be doing right now. If you do some type of a relaxation or visualization about giving a great speech, you'll find that you will be much more relaxed, and it will help you to get over the fear of public speaking. You can do this the morning before you speak, or the night before. Or you can do it every night before you give a speech. And just the thought of doing this will make you relaxed. So, what I want you to do is, wherever you are right now, if you can, turn down the lights. Make it very comfortable. Lie on the floor on your back with your feet shoulders width apart. Now, if this is uncomfortable, try sitting in a comfortable chair, but make it quiet all around. We are going to be tensing and releasing all of our muscles. So relaxing, closing your eyes. And what I want you to do is I want you to bring all of your attention to your right leg. Tense it. Make it tight. Raise it an inch from the floor. Make it tighter. Raise it another inch, tighter. And when I say drop it, let it drop like a cut branch from a tree. Drop it. And now roll it gently from side to side and forget about it. And now bringing all of your attention to your left leg. Tense it. Make it tight. Tighter. Raise it an inch from the floor. Make it tighter, tighter. And when I say the word release, drop it like a cut branch from a tree. Release. And now roll it gently from side to side and forget about it. Now we've tensed and released the muscles in your legs. Let's go to your right arm. Tense it. Make a fist. Make it tight. Raise it an inch from the floor. Make it tighter, tighter, tighter. And release. Roll it gently and forget about it. Bringing your attention to your left arm. Making a fist. Make it tight. Raise it an inch from the floor. Make it tighter, tighter. And release. Roll it gently and forget about it. And now bringing all of your attention to your abdomen, inhaling fully and deeply. And as you inhale, feel your abdomen puff up with air, and on the exhalation, let it gush out. Inhaling again. This time feeling your abdomen puff up with air all the way up to your chest, inhaling fully and deeply, and on the exhalation, let it gush out. Bringing your shoulders up towards your ears and in towards your chin, and relax. Moving your head from one side to the other, and let it find its center. And now opening the mouth, stretching it out, let your tongue hang out, stretch, 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 and release. Pursing your lips, bringing them closed, pursing them tighter, release. Wrinkling up your nose like you're smelling something nasty, wrinkle it, and release. Squeezing your eyes shut, squeezing them, tense them, and release. Bringing your eyebrows all the way up towards your forehead, leaving your eyes closed, and release. And now squeezing your whole face up to the tip of your nose, making an ugly little face. Squeeze it, and release. Some say that these facial exercises will add years to your life. So now we've tensed and released all different parts of the body. What I want you to do now is to mentally go through the body, and if there's any place at all where there's any tension, mentally tell it to relax. Mentally. You don't have to say this out loud. Just tell it, say relax, and relax that part of the body that's still tense. And now bringing your attention back to the breath, inhaling and exhaling. And as you inhale, inhale relaxation, and as you exhale, exhale tension. And if you're really and truly doing this, you will find that your inhalations are cool and your exhalations are warm. Relaxing. See yourself arriving early to give the speech of your lifetime. You've already seen the auditorium. You know who your audience will be, and you know that the room will be filled. The audience is eagerly expecting you. They can't wait to hear what you have to say. Rather than being nervous, you are excited and you can't wait to give your speech. You take a full, deep breath and you walk to the front of the stage. The audience is clapping their hands and waiting expectantly for you to begin. You smile and breathe fully and deeply, confident that your speech is exactly what they want to hear. See yourself speaking confidently. See your audience listening and enjoying your message. You are using appropriate hand gestures. You are well organized. You are making eye contact. Your vocal tone is pleasing. You are sincere, believable, interesting. Your rate of speech is not too fast and not too slow. It's just right. Plus, you look marvelous. You're making your points easily and confidently, and the audience loves your message. See yourself comfortably succeeding. You've changed your nervousness into excitement, and it's contagious. The audience is applauding. You are a great success. You smile, confident, knowing that your message has been received and that you can't wait to speak again. See it. Feel it. And now bring your attention back to your breath. As you inhale, inhale, relaxation. As you exhale, exhale tension. Remember what you have just done, and that all you have to do is think about this, and you will feel relaxed and confident. Whenever you are in a tense situation, tense your muscles and relax them. Inhale fully and deeply. See yourself energized, confident, and successful. That's the shortened version that you can do anytime and any place. Remember, the more you practice this exercise, the more just the thought of doing it will immediately relax you. Now, inhaling fully and deeply into all different body parts to wake them up. Inhaling into your right leg and your left leg, and gently rolling them back and forth to wake them up. Inhaling into your right arm and your left arm, rolling them from side to side gently to wake them up. Taking full, deep breaths, rolling your head from one side to the other. I know you're feeling very relaxed, but what I want you to do right now is I want you, whenever you're ready, is to open your eyes and gently wake up the rest of your body. And I want you to enjoy this feeling of relaxation. And then come on back for part 2, storytelling. So welcome back to part 2, storytelling. Let's practice with telling a story. Now this is a simple exercise. You could do it at a party, at school, on your break at work, and with friends at dinner. It's a good way to start and end a speech. It's even good to put a story in the middle of a speech. I want you to think of something that's happened in the present or the past that's interesting. Make sure it has a beginning, a middle, and an end. If it has a moral or a point, that's good too. And rather than write it down, practice it out loud over and over until you are comfortable. Perhaps watch yourself in the mirror. Put it on audio or videotape. Practice out loud. Don't practice in your mind. Practice out loud. Practice to your cat or dog or husband, wife, neighbor, but make sure it's a nice neighbor. Practice until you know it. The more you practice, the more you can concentrate on performance techniques, like eye contact, hand gestures, and having a pleasant vocal tone. And remember, while you're practicing, stand up straight, good posture. It helps for breathing too. Let your hands gesture if they want. They have something to say also. Eye contact, really look at each person you're speaking to. Time yourself, maybe 2 to 3 minutes perhaps. Have some enthusiasm and energy. Remember to speak loud enough. And stay in one place. Don't have a lot of extra movement. If you're pacing back and forth, people will look at you pacing back and forth rather than listening to your message. When I was in college, the style was to have long, straight hair. Now, I had long, but as you can tell, not very straight hair. So I was thrilled with the new addition to the college dorm shower room. It was a hand dryer. You know, one of those machines that you press the button and you hold your hands underneath and you dry your hands? And we used to line up to use this as a hair dryer. It makes the straightest hair, better than using an iron. Sometimes we even ironed our hair to make it straight. So one Sunday morning, I woke up early. The whole dorm seemed to be asleep, and I had the shower room to myself, no lines. So I washed my hair, and I towel dried it. And then I had a little ritual. I divided it into 2 parts. It was very long, getting it ready for the damp stage, which is perfect for drying it as straight as a pin under that machine. But what to do in the meantime, as I waited for it to get damp, I went back to my room and decided that it needed a vacuuming. There was some of those tumbleweed dust clumps in the corner. So I put on the vacuum and I started to clean. But I just couldn't get those dust clumps in the corner. So I went to bend down to pick it up, and what happened was my very long hair got caught in the vacuum. And then all of a sudden, my head is attached to this machine, and I'm feeling shocked, and I don't know what to do. And here I am, I'm stuck to this machine. So I screamed, help, but no one could hear me over the noise. And then it dawned on me, switch off the machine. So I did. I switched off the machine, and I kept pulling and pulling and pulling. And finally, my hair came out. I was so happy that my hair came out of the machine and that I wasn't going through the shock anymore. So I get up and I go over to the mirror to look at myself, and here I am. I have one side is really long and the other side is in a million knots. So thinking about the hot date I had that night, at this point I start to cry, and I said, oh, what am I going to do? So thank goodness I had a cousin who lived on the same floor, and I woke her up and with the help of her roommate, 1/2 hour later, my hair was completely untangled. Moral to the story? Tie your hair back when you vacuum. What I want you to do is I want you to pick a 2 to 3 minute story that has a beginning, a middle, and an end, and practice it. And also, I want you to do the exercises in Chapter 1 of the Learn Oral Communication Quickly workbook. So do those exercises and then come on back for video 2, which is how to demonstrate, introduce, and make a toast.